Howdy, banger pals. Blayne Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews, and we sure have been seeing a lot of each other. I'm pumped about it. I hope you are too, because I'm especially jazzed because today I get to talk about... Yes, it's the new album from Witch Vomit called Funeral Sanctum. It's coming out today, April 5th on $20 spin. Since forming in 2012, Portland-based death metalers Witch Vomit have been underground darlings basically since the start. But as of recently, they've been advancing to more mainstream attention. I've personally been a fan of them since their first full-length back in 2016, and their EP Poison Blood features some of my favorite album art in recent memory, and boy, that's one hell of a shirt. Instead of a sophomore slump with album number 2, it was actually kind of a breakout hit. So can they propel themselves even higher, or will they have whatever comes after a sophomore slump? I don't know. We don't do school like that in Canada. We just use numbers. It makes a lot more sense. What the hell? Why is junior after... It feels like the conversation that went into making this record was, hey man, we've been an underground death metal band for over a decade, so you know what that means. We legally have to become melodic. I don't know, man, isn't that selling out? That's not what the Witch Vomit stands for. Well, what if we just play the melodic stuff like twice as fast? Now you're vomiting like a witch.
You son of a bitch.
And yeah, it works. After the album intro, more on that later. Things open up with 2 short and fast-paced tracks of the aforementioned melodic variety, but like a picky kid eating their vegetables, they just speed through them in well under 6 minutes. Well, I'm sure this isn't the actual reason for this. It's just a fun narrative I've created in my head, and it puts a smile on my face every time we get to that part of the record. Regardless, this is a great way for Witch Vomit to incorporate this style into their sound, because they have always been a band that tries to give you a new reason for picking up each record, and this seems like a great way to satisfy old fans while bringing in new ones. Just a complete win-win. But do not fear, old fans. While I definitely say they've incorporated melodic elements, it's not time to be editing the metal archives with an early/later tag. This is still of the bolt throwery OSDM school of death metal, and that's definitely the base makeup for what the band does. For my kidding off the top, Witch Vomit has always been a band with a lot of vision and integrity, so I'm not expecting any monumental shifts to the bedrock anytime in the future, which is great, because the slightly death-doomed but still full death metal they do is among the strongest of the bands in the scene turning out this kind of stuff, and oh my god, there are so many bands doing it, so that says something. Slower tempos, dive bombs, and ughs are still served up on a heaping platter here. In addition to the more melodic elements on here, there's also a blackening of things too, which is going to be a massive positive for me, of course. What I think is really cool is just the band's subtle attention to detail in every aspect. Their fantastic album art streak continues with this great one by Matt Sticker, and while I made up a conversation for how the melodic elements got on here, I'm 100% positive that there was a conversation that went, hey, since there's a black metal atmosphere to this record, why don't we do a classic Blue Castle black metal album cover? Wouldn't that be sick? They also include an album intro and penultimate track interlude that could be taken out of the record and dropped into a black metal one with no changes made. Both of them feature sounds made by actual fucking guitars instead of, and are really just expertly written to provide a sense of ominous foreboding in the intro and a sort of quasi-triumphant journeys at an end type vibe to the album's second last track. And just like that interlude before the final track, let me interlude you before my final point with a Patreon plug. As a reminder, we have a Patreon campaign. You can give us a couple of bucks. We can keep making this content without selling you goddamn razors. There's a bunch of perks you get over there, including a bonus weekly video from me. I'm filming, I'm editing all of them myself. So you get an extra little bit of content, whether it's a tip sheet with 5 more records, whether it's a mini review, whether it's some content that I just wanted to make. You'll get it over there just for, whatever you can toss it. Thus, we come to the point in the review where I have to complain about bloated album length and a couple of erroneous song choices that could have been removed to vacuum seal it into a nice tight package that would have left such a more positive impression than a 47-minute runtime. But would you look at that 30-minute album? I ain't got to do shit. Boom. I do actually need to finish this review, though. Oh, that's too much. Relax. This is not something I ever have to worry about with Witch Vomit, considering 2019's Buried Deep in a Bottomless Grave, which was near universally praised, had a hilarious 27-minute runtime, but it's always a relief to see a band not suddenly turn into Metallica and think 80-minute records are cool, man. You're old, Dad. If you do think a 30-minute album might feel a little short, the album does fly by because it's quite good, but do not worry. Another one of Witch Vomit's many strengths is just a variety of track lengths, paces, and vibes, which I find pulls like a auditory illusion, making the record sound full and complete regardless of runtime. The 1 minute and 1 second track has as much presence on the album as the 5 minute and 10 track. Really just man-spreading, taking up as much as the train it wants, giving you a nice full packed vibe regardless. As you can tell, I'm quite happy here. It's always nice to see a band coming off a major hit, still on a journey as opposed to making a layover and photocopying the last one to just do financially pretty well for themselves. I could pick at some minor things, but I honestly can't really think of enough criticism to warrant its own section in the review. Outside of, I don't like it more than Buried Deep in a Bottomless Grave, they didn't really miss any marks here, especially since I like it in a different way, which I think is actually the best one could hope for based on the difficulty of following something up like that. I guess I'll save my bile for that Deicide record or something and just give this a 4 out of 5 icy blue skulls. Boom. But that's not the end of the review. Of course, I have more records for you, and I have 4 more records for you because this April might be the most stacked month I've ever seen in my time at Banger. So 4 more records. There's more over on the Patreon. And if you want even more, you can follow me at twitch.tv/metalcomedy. Come by Sundays. I look at every single metal album coming out 1 month in the future, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time. But shoutouts. First up, we've got some more Black and Death of the more harsh Black and Death variety. It's on Sentient Rune. You know what it sounds like, and it sounds good. It's Diabolic Oath. Oracular Hexations. You've got Funeral Leech, The Illusion of Time on Carbonized Records, bringing some great death doom. So that's keeping with the vibe of what we've been going. Continuing to keep with the vibe of what we've going is Bill Wiss, Hamelin on Northern Silence Productions. That's some great black metal. So you've got kind of all the parts of Witch Vomit spread out into 3 records. And just in case that's too much of the same and you want to step out, we've got some cool sludge in Horndal's Headhammer Man on Prosthetic Records. All of those come out today. I am sorry. That's a lot of money, and it's just going to get worse. What are you really excited about in August? August? It's April. What the hell? There's so many records coming out this month. I lost a bunch of months of my life. Let me know in the comments down below what you're excited about. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you soon.